I'm so excited to welcome you all to Happy Go Lucky at Heart podcast. I have a mission to support others with undiagnosed autism to get a diagnosis because my mum fought a long battle. But please don't go, because this podcast is for absolutely everybody, especially mental health too. And I mean everybody, because I will share with you lots of unique yet personal stories from all age groups. So please meet your host, Vicky Kidson, otherwise known as me. Buckle up, because it's going to be a long mission. So enjoy and live life to the full. She's back after a psychotic episode and being sectioned in the middle of a pandemic. So sorry I had to put this podcast on hold, but it came as a huge shock to me to fall ill, as I was blossoming so much with what I have achieved with my last two podcasts. So first, I'd like to apologise for my impulsivity over DMs. I didn't mean this, I'm sorry. Paranoia affects me in many ways. Voices haunt me. I get these vivid flashbacks and voices echo, and it's so disturbing. It's embarrassing, as I find myself falling out with friends and people I've just met. My dad is coercive and he stopped me from seeing my friends, so my thoughts are often about this. This psychotic episode brought up my grandpa and him cheering me up, painting and giving me chocolate. He passed away when I was 3, but I still miss him a lot, and got so depressed with my latest psychotic episode, as he was my good friend to me and I miss the times haven't spent with him. He was always sorting things out, and I need him back to sort out what's going through my head. Trouble with grief, you find yourself not good enough for anyone, and my thoughts are going over, saying I can't cope, which I can't. I need him back. I keep reading over his Bibles and books, even though I'm not a strong reader. I read like quotes out and highlight snippets of the books. But sometimes that makes my paranoia worse, as I make up stories. I try and cope by writing poetry and little stories and writing a journal. But the journey is the hardest, as you are constantly fighting over what's true and what isn't. You believe it. It's hard to work out, but with the support of medication, it's kind of possible, but kind of isn't, as relapsing and triggers come and go in everyday life. Whether it's films or real life triggers, it's hard to keep on top of it. I love cooking and spending times with my animals. I love horse riding, and dressage is my forte. I'm slowly getting back to the things I love, but it's exhausting getting back after a mess in your head. Trouble with witnessing gaslighting from my father is you're more sensitive to lies, and I suppose that's how I relapse, by reading jokes. Swearing definitely triggers me. Living with my father was the hardest thing ever, as I spent time away from my mum. At least I had my brother. I got super close to him, but the first psychotic episode was the worst and scariest time of my life. I fully remember it. I get these vivid flashbacks and voices control over them. So it's hard to work out if there's truth. But that first psychotic episode, it's hard to work out if it was true or not. I was definitely so paranoid with my father. I wish people would just tell the truth and be open more often. I'm happy with that. But living with paranoia is hard and exhausting, and it's emotionally draining, as it affects your day-to-day life, as you need proof about things as it's not true. Trying to work out if it's a flashback or paranoid thought is tricky, so I'm sorry. I had to put the podcast on hold, but with more counselling I am raring to go with more interviews, but it still takes time behind the scenes with the editing and marketing, so bear with me. A while ago there was a Panorama about Herefordshire Social Services, and with that in mind, they are willing to pay for trauma therapy for me. So I'm undergoing that. So be ready for the next podcast with Lotta, and get ready for the ride. Yet another wonderful interview. Much obliged for you to stay and listen to Happy Go Lucky at Heart podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please keep on boasting about it to your friends and family. And if you have any spare time, please help an independent podcaster get known. So please leave a 5-star review on whichever podcast platform you listen on, and click the link in the show notes for many more ways to connect with me. Bye! Mwah.